Plan for this video is to create 3 simple cards. We will create those and style those a bit as well. And later also we will use those cards to present our data inside of those cards. First of all, I want to just create that markup directly in my summary page that I have. For these cards, I will create the separate component and I will use that component inside of my summary page. So we can also separate our code a bit, which is much more organized and it is easier to debug, set up everything and also deliver the code later. To generate this component, I will use command of ng, then g for generate, c for component, and I will generate this component in my summary module. So summary here, slash, and now here I will use components. And as you know, we already have that component here of summary page, but next to that summary page I will create summary cards. And this component will be called summary cards. Now going into my Visual Studio Code, I can go into my summary module, then components, and here inside I do have this summary page, which I will open up the HTML file for it, and I also do have this summary cards component itself that we just created. What I wish to do is to present these summary cards inside of my summary page, and that is easy to do. I will remove this summary page works, and instead here I will use app summary cards component. Now if you would visit your local host 4200/summary, you should have this summary cards works here as a text. Now back to my code, I will open up the summary cards HTML file as I need to create some markup here. Here I will use a bootstrap to set up the layout for my cards. So to do that, I will create the div with the class of row, and also inside I will create 3 different columns because I will have 3 different cards. So here, first column will hold a class of col md4, which stands for column on medium sizes will take 4 grid spaces, and I will copy this 2 more times, which will add up to 12 in overall spaces. Next to this row here class, I will also add mt3, which stands for margin top 3, to just have a bit of spacing at the top. Now inside each of my columns here I will create the separate card. So here I will create a div and there is a class of card that we can use from Bootstrap. Now inside of this card I will create another div with the class of card body. There is also a header and footer, but we don't really need that for this example. So we will just use card and the card body, and this card body will hold that elements that we will need. For example, one of those elements will be our icon, which will be, for example, class of font awesome and font awesome check square icon. And next to this icon, I will pass text info here to color my icon a bit differently. Just below my icon, I will create h5 element, which will say confirmed, which stands for confirmed cases. So that is why we will use this check icon. And also to this h5 element I will pass a class of card title, which presents the title for our card. And last thing after my h5, I will create the paragraph which will present the number of confirmed cases. For example, 300,000. And that's okay, let's also put a comma here, that's it. Let's now just grab this card and copy this 2 more times in each of our columns. And for the second one, instead of confirmed cases, I will have deaths, which will present total number of deaths. And instead of this check icon, I will use FA times icon, which is kind of the X icon. The number can be, for example, 10,000. Obviously, these are just dummy numbers. We will work and use the right numbers from the API, in the next video. And for my last card, will be, the text itself will be recovered, and instead of check icon again, I will use the icon of FA heart, which will obviously present the heart on this card, and the number here can be 100,000, and that's it. And also one last thing, I just see that I didn't change these text colors. Let's say that for recovered we will have text of success, and also for deaths, text of danger. To test this very quickly, we can already see how this will look like when we are finished. We have our icons, our titles and also the numbers. Let's now go back into our code to style these three cards a bit. To style my summary cards, I will open up their own CSS file, and here I will target my row and each card that I have in my row. First of all, for all of my cards, I will put text align to be center, and border will be 0 to remove the border from the cards. And we will, instead of border, use a box shadow, because we are already using that box shadow on our sidebar. It will look nicer. Box shadow can be 1 pixel, 5 pixel, 10 pixel, and the color for the border can be D1, D1, D1. I obviously misspelled a bit, but that is not a problem. Right after my cards, I will target my row again, then each card and icon inside. For my icons, I wish to make those a bit larger, which will set the font size to 30 pixel. And also let's style our titles. Well, make those a bit larger as well. So target here that row, then each card and H5 elements inside, and I will set font size for my titles to be 18 pixel, and that's it. So we can see that our cards are ready now, and those even look decent. Obviously, feel free to style these, well, as you wish, but also you can follow up with me and use this simple bootstrap styling. So as I mentioned, these numbers are currently hard-coded, well, not right numbers. And we already know that if I visit my console, inside of my console, I do have that object with the global object on it with these total numbers here, like total confirmed cases, total deaths, and total recovered cases. So now the idea is to pass this data from our summary page inside our summary cards, which is the child component of our summary page. So this is another way to share your data in Angular. So let's do that in the next video and also render our data inside of these cards as well.